Before we take a closer look at the modifications of this machine, here is why I chose it. First, this machine has been on the market for 25 years, and I think right now it is discontinued, but there is a newer model which looks a little bit different, but the internals are pretty much the same. This machine has some benefits that allow it to be modified quite easily. First, it has a stainless steel boiler, and in this the boiler is not large, only 180 milliliters, but in this small boiler there is an 1100 watt heater. Because it's been on the market for more than 20-25 years, plenty of parts, the design is rock solid. It is so simple that it's genius. It has enough room to allow for updates. So this is a repurposed corner of a box. I did some cuts, glued it together, and you can see it kind of looks very basic. This is painted bottom of that box. On the back, this is the harnessing and the wires that go inside, and this is the thermal probe. I decided not to keep them together. The red thermometer at the front measures the temperature directly in the group head, which is the most important reading. As you will see, it stays fairly stable around 91-92 centigrade, temporarily drops to 89.3, which is a range of less than 3 degrees, 2.7 degrees centigrade, which is very good thermostability. The PID above is set to 97 degrees, but it measures the temperature outside the boiler. The initial offshoot of 99 degrees is because the integral part of the PID is turned off for better agility. I prefer not offsetting the temperature and see the real readings, but the red thermometer actually shows what really happens in the group head. This is what I originally have in this machine. It's great, it's been doing fine. The only thing I don't like about it is that when you tighten it, when it heats up, it kind of pops. And sometimes it gets loose. This is another one. Actually, they claim to be better. So probably I'll experiment with this one. The third mode of this machine is the dimmer, and this is just a regular dimmer for a light. You cut the hot wire of the pump, rotate it, and it lowers the pressure. It really changed the game, actually. The problem with this machine is that its OPV valve is plastic and fairly basic, so it has some delay. First, the pressure increases, stays, and then like a spring goes back. So being able to control gradually the increase of pressure is a plus for this machine. And the final mode is this gauge. A must for, I think, for any machine, but this is the problem of this machine. This gauge goes only up to 10 bars, and the machine sometimes goes above 10 bars naturally. This is a 15 bar Yoka pump, and sometimes I've seen the needle go in the middle, and but this is the smallest gauge, pressure gauge I could find that could fit here. I found now one a little bit larger, that's 14 bars. So here it is, a little bit larger, so it will create some creative thinking how exactly to fit it, but it is possible. And this is how the machine looks from inside. It looks busy, but it's not that bad. The original design has plenty of space that allows adding new features. So a quick uh, walk around. This is the dimmer. I usually use about a quarter of a turn. That's the effective range. Of course, you can turn off the pump. This was my first more serious addition to the machine, and you can see already some sloppy job. This is the ground just cut out and hanging. I spliced the cable of the pump, the blue cable, that not the best work. Later on, I start paying more attention to those details when I recognized that actually this machine uh, has potential. But again, that was the first thing. Actually, it took me more time to build this box than to connect the PID and route all the cables. This is the cape rope, comes with a long cable, and the accessory is here, and eventually is connected on this plate right outside the boiler. So it's not a perfect placement. It doesn't even have a thermal paste, but it does the job. As I mentioned earlier, the temperature difference is about 6 degrees centigrade. However, the most challenging part in this whole idea, in this whole upgrade process, was the uh, pressure gauge. Took me quite a lot of time to figure out how to connect, what to connect, not to mention that the Longi uses metric system. It comes to here, and this is the smallest, in my opinion, the most elegant way to show the pressure. This is a 10-year-old machine, and I started modding it as a hobby about 2 years ago. And this was always something on the side, but at some point I ended up using it regularly for almost a year. Overall, in terms of espresso quality, it holds its ground really well compared to prosumer level machines.